Ktvu, Virtual Channel 2, is a Fox-owned and operated television station serving the San Francisco Bay Area that is licensed to Oakland, California, United States. The station is owned by the Fox television station subsidiary of 21st Century Fox, as part of a duopoly with independent station KICU-TV. The two stations share studio facilities located at Jack London Square in Oakland. Ktvu maintains transmitter facilities located at Sutro Tower in San Francisco. In the few areas of the western United States where a Fox station is not receivable over the air or through cable television, Ktvu is carried on the Dish Network satellite service as part of All American Direct's Distant Network package to qualifying subscribers. History: as an independent station, the station first signed on the air is on March 3, 1958, originally operating as an independent station. Ktvu's operations were inaugurated with a special live telecast from its Oakland studios. The station was originally owned by a group of local investors under the licensee San Francisco Oakland Television, Incorporated. During its first 15 years on the air, Ktvu's transmitter facilities were originally based from a tower on San Bruno Mountain. In July 1963, Ktvu was sold to the Miami Valley Broadcasting Company, a subsidiary of Atlanta-based Cox Enterprises, for $12 million. The sale was finalized in mid-October of that year. Ktvu moved its transmitter facilities to the Sutro Tower, after the structure was completed in 1973. In 1977, Ktvu was uplinked to satellite as a national superstation, being carried primarily on Cox's cable television systems. However, the station was unable to compete with WTBS in Atlanta, and two other stations that were uplinked to satellite as superstations in the 2 years after Ktvu gained national distribution, WGN-TV in Chicago and WOR-TV in New York City, and began reducing its national cable coverage in 1982. While Ktvu remained a superstation for the remainder of its run as an independent, its cable coverage had become limited to providers within the western United States, primarily those in Northern California, Nevada, Oregon and to a lesser extent, Utah. The station continued to be distributed nationally on satellite via C-band systems until the late 1990s. Ktvu was also carried on Prime Star as the satellite provider's Pacific Time Zone Fox network feed until its 1999 merger with DirecTV. Over the years, Ktvu aired syndicated off-network series, movies, talk shows, news, public affairs and religious programs. It was the leading independent station in the San Francisco market for several years and retained this status when other independents signed on the air on the UHF dial during the late 1960s, most notably KBHK-TV. Channel 2 adapted to competition over the years by reinventing the station's own image with its former longtime slogan, "There's only one to a Euro," which was used in its marketing and on-air promos, including a musical jingle, during the 1970s and 1980s. As a VHF station competitor, Ktvu aired the 8 o'clock movie as an alternative to network programs that aired during prime time on NBC affiliate KRON-TV, CBS affiliate KPIX and ABC-owned and operated station KGO-TV. As an independent station through to its early years as a Fox affiliate, Ktvu frequently aired classic movies in the 8 p.m. slot as well as on Sunday afternoons. In the early 1960s, Ktvu obtained the local rights to the Warner Bros. Pictures library, primarily airing film releases from the 1950s and mostly those in color, on Sundays at 7 p.m. Channel 2 was the first Bay Area station to televise such films as A Star is Born, East of Eden and Rebel Without a Cause. Ktvu exercised discretion and limited commercial interruptions during the movies, often airing the films uncensored and with commentary either by a studio host or via slides. The station even televised MGM's Hollywood Review of 1929 with some of the original two-strip Technicolor sequences. In 1992, Ktvu ran a station-edited version of the 1984 science fiction film Dune, combining the Alan Smithee television cut with the original theatrical release. As a Fox affiliate, on October 9, 1986, KTVU became a charter affiliate of the fledgling Fox television network, when it inaugurated programming with the debut of the late-night talk show The Late Show. KTVU was programmed as a de facto independent station, similar to other Fox stations during the network's early years, even after Fox expanded its programming into primetime on weekend evenings in 1987. Channel 2 continued to air a movie at 8 p.m. on nights when Fox programs did not air until the network's primetime lineup began airing on a nightly basis in September 1993. It began to air an afternoon cartoon block supplied by the network, Fox Kids, when the Monday through Saturday children's lineup debuted in September 1990. The station also added more syndicated talk, court and reality shows over the years. It also continued to run some off-network sitcoms. The station continued to run Fox Kids programming on weekdays until the network discontinued its afternoon block in January 2002. It retained the Saturday morning lineup, which eventually became known as 4Kids TV until Fox discontinued its children's programming altogether on December 27, 2008. KTVU has generally aired the entire Fox program lineup without preemptions, as the network airs fewer hours of programming than CBS, NBC and ABC. At first, KTVU delayed the preempted programming to weekends, but with the growth of Fox and viewer demand, the station eventually aired the delayed primetime shows following the station's 10 p.m. newscast. After Cox purchased KICU until Channel 2 lost the Giants' rights after the 2007 season, the preempted Fox programming would be moved to KICU to air in their network-designated time slots. Despite the occasional preemptions, Fox was very satisfied with KTVU, as the station has long been one of the network's strongest affiliates. On November 28, 1999, Cox Enterprises acquired KICU-TV Euro, which launched in October 1967 as KGSC-TV, and is the successor to the original KTVU in Stockton, creating the Bay Area's first television station duopoly with KTVU once the deal was finalized in early 2000. KICU's operations migrated from its original studios in San Jose and were consolidated into KTVU's studios in Oakland. On March 3, 2008, KTVU celebrated its 50th anniversary of broadcasting. In honor of the anniversary, a series of 15 promos were produced, which included those honoring former KTVU programs such as Romper Room and Captain Satellite as well as the station's sports programming. Acquisition by Fox television stations. Following its March 2013 purchase of WJZY in Charlotte, Variety reported that Fox television stations was pursuing station acquisitions in San Francisco and Seattle as it desired to have a larger presence in the markets of NFL teams that are part of the National Football Conference, to which Fox holds broadcast rights. Fox had for many years wanted to have an owned and operated station in the San Francisco Bay Area, which has always been one of the 10 largest Nielsen television markets. When Fox television stations acquired WTXF-TV in Philadelphia in 1995, KTVU became the largest Fox station by market size not to be owned by the network. Fox's original parent company News Corporation made several offers to buy KTVU, but Cox turned Fox down each time. Fox had reportedly considered purchasing KTVU's Seattle sister station, CBS affiliate KIRO-TV. On June 24, 2014, Fox announced that it would trade its stations in Boston and Memphis to the Cox Media Group in exchange for acquiring KTVU and KICU. The deal made KTVU the last Big Four network station in the Bay Area to become an owned and operated station of its associated network. The trade was completed on October 8, 2014. Station branding. During its early years as a Fox affiliate, KTVU still referenced itself as Channel 2, and rarely called itself Fox 2 under the branding conventions used by the network for its other affiliates, although some promos for Fox network programs did refer to the station as Fox Channel 2. In 1996, the Fox wordmark logo was added on the underside of the top line of the station's longtime Circle Laser 2 logo. Around this time, when the network tightened its branding standardizations for its stations, The station changed its branding to KTVU Fox 2 Euro. However, it continued to identify itself as Channel 2, or KTVU Channel 2 during its newscasts for most of the remainder of Cox's ownership of the station. At the same time, it incorporated the KTVU calls into its branding full-time to maintain a local presence. With Fox's acquisition of KTVU, it is likely that the station will begin to use the Fox 2 branding full-time, with its news branding being changed to Fox 2 News. Digital television, digital channels. The station's digital channel is multiplexed. KTVU also operates a mobile DTV feed of sub-channel 2.1, labeled KTVU-MB, broadcasting at 1.83 Mbps over KICU-TV's digital signal, although it has plans to move the feed to its own signal. Analog to digital conversion. KTVU shut down its analog signal, over VHF Channel 2, on June 12, 2009, the official date on which full-power television stations in the United States transitioned from analog to digital broadcasts under federal mandate. The station's digital signal was relocated from its pre-transition UHF Channel 56, which was among the high-band UHF channels that were removed from broadcasting use as a result of the transition, to UHF Channel 44 for post-transition operations. Through the use of PSIP, digital television receivers display the station's virtual channel as its former VHF analog Channel 2. KTVU also operates a digital fill-in translator on UHF Channel 48, which serves the southern part of the viewing area, including San Jose. Programming. Syndicated programs broadcast by KTVU include Maury, The Wendy Williams Show, Right This Minute, Dish Nation, TMZ on TV, The Drivers Show, Modern Family, How I Met Your Mother, The Big Bang Theory and Seinfeld. Locally produced programming. During the 1960s and 1970s, KTVU aired the afternoon children's program Captain Satellite, which was hosted by Bob March. The series showcased cartoons between segments, including among others the Space Explorers. Until the 1980s, the station produced a series of classic public service shorts titled Bits and Pieces, often featuring two talking puppets, Charlie and Humphrey, which Pat McCormick had brought from KGO-TV. The shorts, which often aired during the station's children's programming, were aimed at delivering positive and educational messages to kids. It was also the Bay Area's originating station for the children's television program franchise Romper Room. The program aired at 8:30 a.m. during the 1980s. One of the station's most successful programs both in terms of ratings and cultural impact was Creature Features, a horror movie showcase hosted by Bob Wilkins, who brought a straight presentation and dry wit to a television genre made ridiculous by the likes of Vampira. Creature Features became an immediate hit following its January 9, 1971 premiere telecast, eventually expanding to a double feature format in the mid-1970s, by which time it was defeating network fare such as Saturday Night Live and the local ratings. It was these latter ratings victories that resulted in John Belushi and John Landis appearing on the program in 1978, during their promotional tour for National Lampoon's Animal House. Wilkins also interviewed then-local author Anne Rice upon the publication of Interview with a Vampire, as well as Christopher Lee, William Shatner, local independent filmmaker Ernie Foselius and many others. Wilkins eventually began hosting a second program on KTVU, Captain Cosmic, wherein he introduced the Bay Area and by extension, through KTVU's superstation status, the rest of the country to Japanese anime by broadcasting such shows as Star Blazers. Captain Cosmic was a hit, though it and Creature Features both ended when Wilkins retired from television in 1979. Programs that were formerly seen on KTVU during its run as an independent station included Dialing for Dollars, which was hosted by Pat McCormick, who later served as a weather anchor at the station. National All-Star Wrestling, which aired on Friday nights during the early and mid-1960s from the KTVU studios or San Francisco's Cow Palace and was hosted by Walt Harris. And Roller Derby, which Harris also hosted for many years and featured San Francisco Bay Bombers roller derby games until the demise of the International Roller Derby League in 1973. During the early 2000s, KTVU broadcast San Francisco's Chinese New Year parade each winter. Sister station KICU generally rebroadcast the parade on the evening of its broadcast, aired its own Chinese-language telecast of the parade using pool cameras. Sports programming, KTVU obtained the rights to televise San Francisco Giants Major League Baseball games in 1961, 3 years after the team arrived from New York City. After the relocation, the Giants initially opted against televising their games to encourage game attendance by Bay Area residents and tourists. As such, when KTVU became the Giants' television partner, it only televised the team's road games against the Los Angeles Dodgers until 1965, when the station began airing additional regular season and exhibition games. KTVU lost rights to the Giants' telecasts beginning with the 2008 season, when the broadcast television contract was taken over by San Jose NBC-owned and operated station KNTV. The Giants retain a presence on Channel 2, as some Saturday afternoon and more recently, Saturday evening regular season games have been carried on the station since 1996, as part of Fox's national baseball coverage. KTVU has also served as the local television broadcaster of San Francisco 49ers since 1994, when Fox won the contract to air games from the National Football Conference. The station airs most of the team's exhibition, regular season and playoff games whose rights are not held by other broadcast networks. KTVU also airs most Oakland Raiders games in which the team plays against an NFC opponent, as well as select preseason games. Both KTVU and sister station KICU also carry Raiders preseason games. The San Francisco Golden State Warriors also aired many of its basketball games on KTVU through the years, on several occasions from 1962 to 1963, 1965 to 1968, 1969 to 1983 and the late 1990s to 2001. News operation. KTVU presently broadcasts 47.5 hours of locally produced newscasts each week. In regards to the number of hours devoted to news programming, it is the second highest newscast output of any television station in the San Francisco Bay Area. In addition, the station produces the sports highlight program Sports Wrap, airing weekends at 10:45 p.m., and the public affairs program Bay Area People, which airs Saturdays at 6:30 a.m. KTVU's Saturday 6 p.m. and Sunday 5 p.m. newscasts are subject to preemption or delay due to network sports telecasts overrunning into or starting within either time slot. KTVU is the largest Fox station not owned by the network without a newscast in the traditional 11 p.m. time slot, and the fifth largest Fox station overall without a newscast in a conventional late news time slot. The station has been well known in the Bay Area for its news programming. KTVU's news department began operations along with the station on March 3, 1958, with the launch of the 10 o'clock news, which for years had been the market's only local television newscast at 10 p.m. throughout the 1980s until 2006. The program was often referred to as the #1 primetime newscast in the country, a factual statement which was referenced in the newscast's introduction during this period based on the number of viewers watching the program at that hour. KTVU's primetime newscast was such a force to be reckoned with that WB affiliate KBWB cancelled its KNTV-produced 10 p.m. newscast in 2002, as it was unable to compete with KTVU in the ratings. When KRON-TV became an independent station in January 2002, it scheduled its new primetime newscast at 9 p.m. to avoid competing directly with KTVU, a stark contrast to the early 1990s, when both KRON and KPIX moved their late evening newscasts to 10:00 as part of the early prime network scheduling experiment. Both programs have since moved back to the 11 p.m. slot. During this period, KTVU branded its flagship newscast as the original 10 o'clock news. Besides beating out its competition in the 10 p.m. time slot, the 10 o'clock news has also placed ahead of KRON, KPIX and KGO's 11 p.m. newscasts in overall late news viewership for much of its history. The 10 o'clock news is also one of the few local newscasts in the United States to have been syndicated to other television stations. It also airs on Monterey Fox affiliate KCBA, My Network TV affiliates KRVULD in Chico and KEMYLP in Eureka, California, and Fox affiliate KRXI-TV in Reno, Nevada. KTVU had used the KTVU News theme by Michael Randall as the theme music for its newscasts from 1987 until the package was replaced on June 23, 2010 by a new 615 music-composed theme called Icon News. In the 2000s, Channel 2 became the last news-producing English-language station in the Bay Area to begin utilizing a helicopter for news gathering, with the introduction of News Chopper 2. Throughout its run as an independent station, the 10 p.m. broadcast was the only news program on KTVU. The station first expanded its news programming in 1986 with the debut of a half-hour midday newscast, displacing syndicated game shows on the noon time slot. The station debuted a half-hour 6 p.m. newscast in the late 1980s. It was cancelled by the early 1990s. Channel 2 eventually decided to shift towards a news-intensive format to compete with KRON, KPIX, KGO-TV and KNTV that took the course of several years to take effect. Fox has never carried any national network newscasts, but it still motivated its affiliates, including KTVU, to air more local news programming. The station's original morning newscast, Mornings on 2, debuted on January 2, 1991 on the 7:00 to 9 a.m. slot. This was followed by the 1996 debut of an additional hour-long newscast at 6 a.m. Early evening newscasts later returned on March 26, 2000 with the debut of a new half-hour 6 p.m. newscast, followed by the addition of an hour-long 5 p.m. newscast in April 2005. As its news programming expanded, KTVU's newscasts avidly competed for first overall with KRON-TV during the 1990s. Its newscasts became the highest-rated among the Bay Area's television stations in the early 2000s, firmly taking first place from KRON-TV following Channel 4's 2002 disaffiliation from NBC. The retirement of longtime news director Fred Ziender brought changes to the newsroom. However, KTVU was ranked as the highest-quality local newscast in the nation in 2000 by the Project for Excellence in Journalism under his immediate successor, Andrew Finlayson, while maintaining the top ratings slot at 10 o'clock and throughout the noon and morning newscasts. Varying primetime numbers and improvements at competitors have since led to a decline in the once dominant news operations ratings, although it retains the number one spot. For the month of August 2010, KTVU's newscasts ranked number one among adult viewers 25 to 54, beating KPIX, KGO, KNTV and KRON. On October 10, 2006, KTVU became the first television station in the Bay Area to begin broadcasting its local newscasts in high definition. With the upgrade, the station debuted a new state-of-the-art studio designed for HD newscast production, which replaced the previous set that had been used since 1986. Video from remote and field equipment was initially broadcast in 480p standard definition. Following the transition, high-definition cameras are now utilized for field reports. On January 21, 2008, the station began producing a half-hour newscast at 7 p.m. each weeknight for sister station KICU-TV. On January 22, 2011, KTVU launched 2-hour newscasts on Saturdays and Sundays from 7:00 to 9 a.m., becoming the largest Fox affiliate and the second-largest Fox station behind the network's Dallas O&O KDFW to carry newscasts on weekend mornings. 2 days later on January 24, 2011, KTVU expanded its weekday morning newscast to 4.5 hours, with the addition of a half-hour at 4:30 a.m. In March 2014, KTVU began using the AFD number 10 broadcast flag to present its newscasts in letterboxed widescreen for viewers watching on cable through 4:3 television sets. Asiana Airlines accident prank. During the July 12, 2013, edition of the noon newscast, The station ran a National Transportation Safety Board report that claimed to identify the 4 pilots of Asiana Airlines Flight 214 which crash-landed at San Francisco International Airport 6 days earlier. The NTSB announcement incorporated satirical names lampooning people of Asian heritage, which later turned out to be a joke played by an intern at NTSB. Asiana Airlines had confirmed 2 of the pilots' names earlier that week, and an Associated Press article that included the actual names of all 4 pilots was posted on KTVU's website 2 days before the erroneous report aired. The NTSB quickly apologized for the joke, saying that the intern had been fired. 3 KTVU producers were let go after an internal review, and an additional noon producer left for health reasons. Asiana Airlines announced on June 15 that it would file a defamation lawsuit against KTVU, claiming the incident damaged the airline's reputation, only to reverse course days later, citing in a statement that it would instead concentrate all their efforts on dealing with the aftermath of the accident. KTVU later filed requests through the Digital Millennium Copyright Act to remove user-uploaded videos of the prank available online, causing some criticism for trying to cover up their mistake. Rapini contended that the takedown claims were not so much a way of preventing copyright infringement than to try to lessen insensitivity towards the Asian community. Notable former on-air staff. References. External links. KTVU.com KTVU official website, KICU.com KICU TV official website, query the FCC's TV station database for KTVU, query the FCC's TV station database for K06FA, query the FCC's TV station database for K39AG. BIAFN's Media Web Database, information on KTVU TV.